sound. And hello. How are you doing, Mama?
I'm doing all right. How are you today?
Doing all right. Haven't really been doing too much exciting, so I don't have fun things to talk about. Do you have anything fun to talk about?
No.
And I should probably start trying to come up with topics of discussion, but I always found it way easier to talk about stuff in a sort of not prompted way. I don't know. Conversation's always more fun for me when it feels less, maybe not necessarily scripted, because it's just sort of about having a prompt, but I don't know. Unprompted, unscripted, I don't know what the right phrasing here is. But that means I'm ready for some Sudoku. So, pull up our first puzzle. And make sure I have this over here. Alright, cool. First puzzle for today is going to be Three's a Crowd by Danny Dracogal. Maybe that's Danny Dracogal? Not sure. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Digits separated by an X sum to 10. Digits separated by a V sum to 5. And digits separated by a black dot are in a 1 to 2 ratio. Digits separated by a white dot are consecutive, and 3 may not orthogonally touch a consecutive digit, nor a digit with which it is in a 1 to 2 ratio. Does that include over the 1 to 2? Does that mean 3 can't be on the dots?
Sounds like it.
It might be. We'll figure it out. Alright, let's get started. Put the link to the puzzle into the chat if anyone who's listening is interested in it. And let's see.
Well, I see in box 2, the two cells that don't have the one below the 3 in the bottom left corner are a 5-7 pair. Everything else is part of an X, a 10 sum.
Because you couldn't put 2 5s, and if you were to put a 7, it would need the 3, which definitely doesn't work. Threes have to be one of those two, and it can't be this one because it would put a 7 there, and a 3 there. So that's 3. 3 go there. Across the top. There.
Well, and if it can't be orthogonally adjacent to a consecutive digit, it can't go on the V, the 5
Yeah.
sum, box 9.
One, 8, 2, and 4.
Now, 2 and 4 can't be next to 3.
Right. Well, this clearly can't be. No,
No,
it
it
can't
would
be a
go
1
1,
or
2, 4, or 8, 4, 2.
Yeah. Okay. 6, 8.
And if it goes 8, 4, 2,
Then we get
then
another
that
8.
doesn't work.
5, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, well, that means in box 9, the
Hmm.
V sum is a 1, 4.
That's true. This has to be 2 or 8, because a 1 or a 4
Right.
compare with 2, and 4 compare with 8.
Four's in the middle of. Doesn't matter.
This has to be a 1-2 pair,
Right.
because we know that all of these have to be 1, 2, 4, 8. And this one can't have a 4, so it clearly can't have an 8. This one doesn't have a 1 on it, so 4 is required.
Oh,
Well, for
and
these to be 10, you can't do that.
column 5 in box 2, it can't have a 4 coming down or on the bottom of that crop key dot, because on the other side of that X would be a 6, and there's a 6 in the column.
Right. One, 6, 4, 8, 2, 1. That doesn't feel like that has to be that way. 4. That has to be 1. Okay, that has to be the 2. Okay. I just did it from the wrong direction, even if I got it right technically. 7 or 9. 3, 5, 7, 9. This isn't 3 or 9. And if 3 has to be, well, it doesn't count the 6 or the 2, 4, so that doesn't matter. 5, 7. Heard an
Well, I was going to say the 6 in box 5, but it has 2 spots.
And then I just saw this 3 can't be next to 2 or 4. Although, it just takes 1 and 8 off of the top one. 3 can't be next to 4.
Three can't be next to 6 there in box 7.
Right. 5, 7,
5,
9. This has to be a 3, so that one's a 3.
Row 9, you can place the 2.
That has to be 8. Four, 5, 7, 9, and 2. Well, 2 and 4 can't go next to 3. 5, 7, 9 goes to 4 pair. 5, 7, 9, 5, 7, 9,
And
6,
6.
and 1. Say again.
Yeah, it was just the
Oh, this can't be a
1,
6.
6, 5, 7, 9.
This can't be an 8 because that can't be a 4. 4, 6, 1, 3, just here, there. 5, 7, 9, and a 1.
Or can be placed in box 4.
Doesn't fix that yet. 5, 7, 8, 9.
Or can be placed in box 3. That should be the last one. 2, 5, 7, 9.
Also 8.
And 8, yeah.
6, 7, 9. 7, 9, and 1. Five, 79.
One can be placed in box 5.
Yep. 5, 6, 9, not 8. The 6, so that is 'I don't see where else 2 can go. 1. 9 has to be one of those 2. 5, 7, 9 places an 8.
In box 4, look where the 8 can go. Oh, never mind. Because you already have the 8 in box 7. You finished that up while I was looking at it.
No, I think those are all done. So we're just left with 5, 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah.
So 5, 7, 9 places 8.
Oh, nope, never mind.
9 in this row has to be one of those 2. Maybe one of those 2 is not helpful. Oh, that still hasn't helped. We haven't missed any, dots, have we?
Not that I see. No X's or V's. And everything regarding the 3 is complete.
Yeah. And that one hasn't been contradicted or messed up in any way, and it's not solved yet either, which is kind of the more important thing I was trying to get to and had a hard time saying for some reason. Okay, well, those 2 are red. So red ends up being one of those two. Those two. These two. So suddenly that one's red. It's the only 5, 7, or 9 in this column. So that can't be red. So that is. But now it has to be a 7. Here we go. And I think I can't tell whether or not I think this is telegraphed well enough. It's definitely important, obviously, because I think that was the intended path for that solve there. My eyes have been bugging me. I need to leave them alone, but struggle with that. Paste. And that one. Solution, the third row. My notes. Copy in the third row. Paste that in. And then grab the link. And not very easy. Very nice. I guess I would have to say sort of average-ish. I don't think it's necessarily easy. We got through it quickly. But that's mostly because we're already fairly familiar with what goes on these dots.
Yeah.
And I think maybe a little lucky that I saw this one. I'm not sure. Because I could definitely feel like I'd sit here staring at that for a while. Especially if I didn't start trying to paint that one in.
Yeah.
Or if I tried to use 3 colors. That would have been a mess. So I guess I kind of want to go with average, even though we got through it quickly. Any, does that sound good to you?
Yeah. Sounds fine.
Submit. And next puzzle is Oil Water Krapti by Balabs. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Each cage is either full of oil, even digits, full of water, odd digits, or a mix of both. Well, now we've covered all the bases. In all cases, each row within a cage is just one type, oil or water. Oil floats on water, so even digits will always be in rows above odd digits in mixed cages.
Okay.
Digits in cages do not repeat and must sum to the small clue if given. Black dots separate 2 digits where one is double the other. Not all such dots are shown. Okay.
Well, and only 4 of those cages have numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just start with the drop key dots.
Yeah, that's true. Three, 4, 6, 8.
Now, 1, 2 would not work on a horizontal.
Right.
Well,
Neither would
no,
3,
because if it's
6.
in the same cage. Because, like, the one in row 1 doesn't matter because they're
Yeah,
not in the same in a cage. But
and neither do the vertical ones.
row 8, well, the vertical even would have to be above odd.
That's true. So the top couldn't be a 1.
That one can't be 1. No, because 1, 2 doesn't work.
Okay. Well, one of those have to be 4 along with that, so 4 and 8 aren't allowed. Now, this is 20. So this is either 12 or 6. And we either have 8 in the bottom, which could be 1, 7, or 3, 5. Or I guess it could be 2, 6. If we have 2 and 4, so 6, I need to get 14 in the bottom. That would have to be 5, 9.
It'd be 6, 8.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. It could be all evens. Okay.
Yeah, because the cage is either all even, all odd, or evens are above odds.
Yeah.
Now, the 13 cage, since it's a 3 cell,
Yeah,
no matter what, that bottom one is going to be odd.
that's true. This can't be a 3 on top,
Right.
because then it would be 6 on the bottom. 3, 6. We know this is even. 3, 6. So we know the whole group has to be even. So 1 and 3 is out. So 2 and 6. And 1 and 3 is odd. Now, neither of these can be even.
Right, because they would have to both be, so those are both odd.
All of the odds are 25, and I need to take out 12, which is 5, 7, or 3, 9. So I have to have a 1 in here. Is that right?
Yeah.
So that's a 3, and a 6, and not a 6, and not a 3. But then this would have to be 3, 5, 7. Evens have to stay on top of evens. So 2 and 8 is out. so that can't be a 4. 6 is out, so that can't be a 1 or a 3. That's 9.
In box 3, the 12 cage, the top digit has to be even.
And then those two have to be the same. Digits don't repeat in a cage, right? Yeah, digits do not repeat unless some. So this is a 6 because we know that these 3 are even. A 6 would have to
Right.
pair with a 3, and this 6, even if that is even, cancels it out. So this has to have a 6 in it. Wait, no, it doesn't. Because
It just can't
if,
have a
if
4.
yeah, if this is odd, then that can be 2 or 8.
Well, and since that one doesn't have a sum,
Yeah,
we just know that that's even.
yeah.
Oh, but we know 4 in row 4 that the left-hand crop key dot has to have a 4 on it.
Can't be an 8.
Row 7 has 4 each.
Yeah, the rest have to be odd.
And we know that that 2 or 6 is even. Box 9.
Right. But these 3 cell cages,
Right. So
yeah,
that 20 cage that's in box 9,
uh-huh,
we now know those are both odd.
right. Uh, but there's a number of ways to do that, I think.
Right.
These 2 3-cell cages on the opposite sides of the middle rows cannot have odds on top, because then they would have to all be odd.
Right.
I guess
And that would be too many.
I'm just going to keep the odds being orange. 8. 2 and 8. So 4 no longer works. Oh, this 10 has to be a pair of evens now, because there are already 4 odds in the box.
Right. Oh, the cage that comes down from box 3 to box 6, that 1 3 is odd, so everything below it in there is odd. And column 6 has 4 odds, so it just needs one more odd, but it can't be in box 5 because that would put 2 evens in box,
Right.
which would make 5. So that has to be even.
Six is the only digit that gets removed because of that, though. Because 1 can pair with 2,
Right.
but 2 can still pair with 4. But these have to be an odd-even pair now, right?
Yes.
So this
And then
has
the
to be
rest
odd.
is odd.
That's
And
a
a
1
one.
and a 2. So it's 3.
Column 9, the Kropke dot in box 9 is
The rest of this row is all odd.
okay. In box 8, the other even has to be 2 or 6, and it
Right.
can't go in the center because it sees 2 and 6. And that resolves the evens in box 8 because of the 10 cage. Column 3 has 4 even. Column 7 has 4 even. Kropke dot with the 3.
That 2 pair doesn't. Well, it fixes this thing down here. So 2, 6, 3.
The Kropke dot in box 4 can't have a 4 on the left.
Because 2 and 8 are out. This can't be a
And it
1
can't have a
because
1
2's
on the.
out. Which 2 and 6 are even. 2 can still pair with 4, so this doesn't have to be on. But that can still be even. Make the whole set there even.
In box 6, there are 4 odds. So in
So
the cage, that has to be even. But we don't know about the bottom one yet.
an 8 would be 1 and 3, but this can't be a 1.
Either way, in
So
box
this can't
6,
be. We have 8 left
the
over.
column 8 in box 6, the 2 that are blank, one of those, at least one, has to be even. And it
Yeah.
has to be a 2 or a 6. And the bottom can't be 2 or 6. It sees 2 or 6 in the row. So that has to be 2 or 6.
Right. And so does that one, because that's 5 evens. Or 5 odds, excuse me.
Yeah. So it's no, the bottom corner is 4 or 8. Oh, that's just a 2.
This one has to be 2?
The cage has 4, 6, and 8.
Oh, right. The 2. 6, 3. It's odd.
Box 9 only has 1 spot for a 6.
Has to go here.
And that's an 8, the corner.
These can't both be
Oh.
even.
No, they cannot. Something's a boo-boo.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Now the row has 4 evens in it.
It's those two that I did. I don't know why I made those both odd. So we've got an odd even pair trying to figure themselves out in this group. Because I still need a 4 here, and I still need an 8 here. So 9. Well, that's 12.
12. So those sum to 8.
Can't be 3, 5, so there's 7 and 1. 7 has to be on top. 5 and 9.
Row 8 needs 3, 5, and 9, and 3 goes first.
9 there. 1 or 7.
Box 3 has a 12 cage.
Odd, even.
7, 8.
What was the 7, 8? Oh, those two?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't bad.
That was a pretty good one. And that is Netflix.
Oh, we've done other by blobs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 3. Very nice. I guess I kind of want to say that one was on the easier side. Even though it sort of took longer than the previous puzzle, I still feel like it was a little easier. Although I was definitely tripped up a few times by what the evens must be on top in the cages meant. And then I did mess this up, although looking back, I'm not sure how or why. Although I'm glad that was an easy fix.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with easy on that one. Excuse me. Alright, next puzzle is going to be Aestheti? Aesthete?
I think
One of
so.
those two, hopefully. By Lizzie01. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Along thermometers, values strictly increase from the bulb end. There are 9 doubler cells in the grid, 1 in every row, column, and box. Each digit from 1 through 9 appears in a doubler cell exactly once, and a doubler cell's value counts as double its digit. One,
Well,
two,
actually, 1
three.
through 9.
Unfortunately, we can put a doubler on it.
Oh, right, doublers.
And then it can go all the way up to 10. So I'm going to put the value on here, and hopefully not get too confused. 8, 8, 9. I guess I can put 5 or 9 here, and then every even digit I can put its half value. Although this is still 1 or 2. And it cannot be doubled.
Right.
Well, no, that's not true. The 1 could be doubled into a 2.
No, because then the 5 would have to be doubled to a 10.
That's true. So not doubled. Where do I put 9 in this box?
Well, one of them's going to have a doubler.
Yeah.
And it can't be in the first column of that box. It's going to have to be one of those two. So one of the going to have to be a doubled 5. But 1 is still going to have to go on a bulb.
Yeah.
Because even if you double it,
Then you wouldn't be able to put anything before it.
right.
9, 8, 7, 6. 5, 4, 3. Right? 7, 8. Now that's the value. Now none of these can be doubled, but I could put a 2 that gets doubled here. We have 2 that's doubled into a 4. We force that to be a 3 and a 1. But still theoretically possible. Put the link in the chat. Okay.
Oh, since we know that in box 6, the 5 has to be doubled,
Oh, right.
that's the long thermo is now 1 through 9. The long one, the
This
9
one?
cell one. Uh-huh. Because you
Oh,
can't
right.
double 5 anymore.
That has to be 8, so this has to be 7. This has to be 6. This has to be 5. This has to be 4. This has to be 3. This has to be 2. And this has to be 1. But one of those could be doubled. Although this one can't, so it must be a 6. And that must be a 4. So that can't be 5. Nor can it be valued as 5. And these can't be valued as 2, so they're 3, 2, and 1. And they can't be doubled. Because we know that that's a 4. Although I guess technically this 9 could be doubled.
Yeah, we could double anything up there.
But even if this was a doubled 9, then the most that could be is 8.
Right.
I think. Well, yeah, the most that could be is
Right.
8.
Yeah.
The most that could be is 7. 6, 5. This is still at most 4. Because if that was doubled, 8, 7, 6, 5,
Right.
4. So that's at most 3,
Although
that's at most 2, that's at most 1.
that 9
Yeah,
could be something larger than 5 doubled.
that's true.
Could be a doubled 6. But since we know that the 5 is doubled in box 6, it cannot be 10. So if
Right.
it's doubled, it's going to be higher than 10.
So 6 through 9.
Right. But
But
that
then
would
that
have to
I
be
can
what's
still put a 9
doubled. So
here.
the 8, so the rest of it still is valid.
5,
Oh
4,
yeah, because that would, if that's doubled, then that's higher than 9.
9,
Okay.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Oh, this can't be a 6, that's 7, 6, 8.
Can that 4 now be a 6?
Which one?
The 4 in box 6? Could that now be a 6? Since the reason it couldn't be a 6 before was because of the 6 in box 4.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8. 5's
And
removed.
actually, that doesn't have to be a doubled 5. It just has to be larger than 9.
That's true.
But it would be minimum 5.
Yeah.
But it still has to be the doubler.
Well, that's not boding well for
Well, hey, at least
um
it was at least it dawned on me before we got much farther.
yeah.
Okay, well, in box 5, where can a 9 go? Well, it could go across in the top. Never mind. It just can't go in the center row.
Yeah. Well, I guess 9 has to be one of those 3 in box 9. The first column of box 9. How are we supposed to figure stuff out more than this?
Okay, well, we know where 9 has to go in box 3.
Yeah.
What about 8? It could go before the 9.
It can go in line with the 9. But yeah, it's limited to these 4. You can have 8 here. So it doesn't give us anything interesting down here. Unless we learn that this isn't an 8.
Yeah.
We know that neither of these two could be 9. Well, not neither of them. Whatever's after the 9 can't be a 9. But there's no reason the other one can't be. Well, what about these 3? We know their values here are minimum 4.
Right.
So that gives us
So both have to be
1.
1.
And you couldn't put a 2 on here
Right.
as a double, because then you'd have to go 3, 2, 1. So 2 ends up in this group. Could you put a 3 that's doubled into a 6? Yeah, because there's 5 values below 6. And if you remove the 3, there's still 4 left over. 1, 2, and
But the
4 and 5.
doubled digit has to be after the 9.
Right. So the 3 that would get doubled. Okay. And then suddenly, can I put a 4 on either of these? Well, if I did, that would be 4, 1, 2, 3. So 4 can't be either of those. And that's not a 4. Or that is a 4.
Right. So, that is its value. So it has to
Yeah.
be 1, 2, 3.
Okay. We got that the correct way to get there this time.
Yeah. All right. Where can 1 go in row 4? Well, I could go any place that's not. And it can't, yeah.
Uh, Joseph Pratt says, "Hello, Mr. Old Man. The thermo is labored 367 can no longer have a 3. Mr. Old Man Joe. You can also call me Robert. Mama, how do you want to go by?"
I don't care. As long as you don't try to hoist me off as the oh great one again.
Well, how would you like people in chat to refer to you? Do you want to use your real name? Do you want to go by Mama, or do you want to go by something else?
I don't care. Mama works.
Um, let's see. Well, now we know the 9 is here. These are now 4-5 minimum. Um, we still have to double something over here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Hmm. That's really interesting. Okay, hold on.
That's not gonna work.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We know
Unless
9 has
9
to
is
be one of
what's
those two.
well, 8 could be doubled at the end if it's next to the 9. Well,
Except,
no, that wouldn't work because
yeah, because then this can't be doubled. If this was the 9, then this is doubled that's greater than 9. This would be maximum, well, 9.
okay, 4 is doubled before the 9 to
Yeah.
make its value 8.
Or it could be doubled alongside the 9. But we know that it's going to have to be the value 4 that gets doubled.
Right.
So 4 ends up being in this group
Right.
along with 8. So these two can't be doubled, and 5 is no longer allowed. Yeah, we could go 7, 8, 9, and 5, 6, 8.
8.
But we know our double is going to have to be over here. But 4 can no longer be doubled. So this couldn't be a doubled 4, nor could that be.
Okay, in row 4, we know that 1 can go in 3 spots. 2 is gonna have to go in those same 3 spots because it's own value, and you can't put it there because that breaks the 1, 2 in the other bulb. About 3.
You can't put a 3 on this one because a 1 and a 2 would make 4 digits from 1, 2, 3
Right.
across. So can this be a 3?
What I was trying to figure out. If that's a 3, that would have
1,
to be
2
the other
there.
half of 1, 2. So then on that thermo, the elbow becomes 5 or 6. The diagonal in the third row becomes 4 or 5.
I'm not sure if that's enough to say that that can't be a 3. But I think
That
if we go back
becomes
over
2 or
here,
4. Anyway,
if we look over here, 9, because we have both 4 and 8
right.
in this group, and they
And
can't both
9
be
is gonna
here.
have to be right.
So we're gonna have the default 9 here. So oops, that isn't a 9, that isn't an 8, that isn't a 7, and now 8 has to go down here. And then it's the remainder of 5, 6, and 7.
Right.
That's a 3, you get 1, 2. You end up with 1, 2 there. Yeah, I'm not sure.
No, we
So
know in
right,
box 3 that the 5 has to go in row 1. Or, yeah, row 1.
right.
So the 5 comes out. Yeah.
This has to be 4, 8, 9. Yeah,
Right.
and then it's just the 6 and the 7 that we don't know where that goes between these 4. Just like we don't know where the 4 and the 8 go between those 4.
Right, because the 8 could be before the 9 or beside the 9.
Yeah. We know that this cannot be 1, 2, or 3. It can't be 1 or 2 because we know its default value. It's the value is what it says. And if
Right.
it's a 3, a 1, 2, and a 1, 2, 3 there make 4 digits, or 4 cells that are from only 3 digits, which doesn't work. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not a 4. Fortunately. Take that out. It's too much stuff. We know that this one cannot be a 2 or a 3. Because if it was a 2, it would be preceded by a 1, which breaks the row.
Right.
And if this was a 3, it would be preceded by 1 or 2, and that's also too much. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But that could be from 1, 2, or 3.
Right.
Now, we're close to looking at a 5, 6 pair. One, 2, 3, 5. I would need one more to make that a 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 quintuplet. Okay. Well, what am I missing still? If this was from 1 or 2, then that would be minimum 3, and that would be 5, 6, or 7. Excuse me, 5 through 9. I don't know why I said 5, 6, 7. Maybe because of the 6, 7 there. But if that's 1 or 2, that's not really enough information to force anything in particular.
Okay.
Then what?
In column 3, the 3, 5, 6 that's in box 4
Yeah.
cannot be a 3 because then that would become 6 because it would have to be doubled. 6,
Uh-huh.
7, 8, 9, and then you'd have to double the tip. And you can't double 2 in the same column.
Okay.
So that is 5 or 6. And that's a 5, 6 pair in the row.
Six, 7, 8, 9. Okay.
I mean, we can still double something below it.
This can't be a double 4, because that would be 8, 9, and 10 or more. Or
And
more
yeah,
accurately, 12 or more. But that could be 2 double the 4, or it could be a regular 4. 5 is what forces the double here at the end.
right.
If this was 4 or a double 2, that would make that doubled. Same with, well, if this is a 3, it makes that doubled, but then it doesn't do anything else different. Okay.
And we still have to have something doubled in rows 5 and 6. But it could be not on a thermo and make absolutely no difference at all.
Yeah. The only digit we know that is doubled is a doubled 4.
Right. In row 5, we cannot put a 9 on a bulb in box 5
Right.
because it would have to be followed by too many doubles.
And then this can't be none of those. And then you can't put it
Right.
on the bulb, so that has to be a 9. So that's an 8, a 7, a 6, 5, 7, 8, not a 5.
So 7 can be placed in box 4. And it did turn out that 5 was the doubled.
Wait, that doesn't work.
Yeah. Oh, no, because 4 would have to be.
I can't double both of those. It has to be. Hold on. Something got messed up. We cannot put the 4 in box 3 before the 9.
Right.
And it obviously can't be before the 8 either. So this has to be 4, 9. So we get 8 here with 6, 7.
Right, so that's a 9 in box 1.
So what did we mess up with the consideration for a 9 in row 2? Or excuse me, row 5? Because we know it can't go here, because the doubled 4 makes 8. We couldn't double anything greater than 4, because then the digit after it would have to be greater than 10, which is not possible. So 4 was the only digit we could double, and it becomes 8. We couldn't put the doubled 4 before the 9 because the digit that comes after 9 has to be doubled. So this must be correct. We couldn't put a 9 here already. You can't put a 9 there without doubling this, without making that ridiculous. And if this was a 9, then that wouldn't work either. If I put a 9 here, then that would have to be doubled, that would have to be doubled, and that would have to be doubled. But I could double all 3 of those.
No. Oh, yeah, you can.
So 9 is here. And then these are my doubles. Well, that's ridiculous. 5, 6, 7, 9. 7. Now, it can't be doubled, but then this one has to be. This can't be a doubled 1, a doubled 2, or a doubled 2. 1, 2,
Okay, well,
3,
we
4,
know it's
6.
where the doubler is in box 2. We just don't know what it is.
2 and 9 is out. 1 is clearly out, and it can't be 5 or more. And we've already doubled 4, so it must be a 3. So 7, 8, 9. And it's not a 9 because of the 9 there. 7, 8 pair.
Bulb
This
has
goes
to
all
be
the
a
way up
1.
to 5.
Oh, right. I forgot about the doubler in it. Jiminy Christmas.
5, 6, excuse me. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 4. So the doublers that are in here must be 1 or 2.
Right. And you can't put...
Which means we have a 1 or a 2 in here.
Right.
Which gives us a 1, 2 there. And this is now minimum 4.
Well, since 1 and 2 have to be over there in box 4 for row 5, then the 3
Has to be
for the
here.
row.
Oh wait,
Well,
that
I was
must
going
be
to
one
say
of those.
for row 5. Row 5, looking into box 6. Since there has to be a 1 or a 2, that 3 has to be there. So
Right.
the 3 comes out of the... Yeah, I wasn't explaining very well, sorry. And
No,
that's a
I
1-2 pair in the row.
6, not a 3, so is it 3?
4, 5, 6 triple.
So that's an 8, which is then the 9, and is then the 4. Is a
Row
regular
5
9.
has a 5, 6 pair.
Double. Row
5 has a 5,
5,
6 pair.
6. Which we knew a long time ago.
Yeah, now 6 has a 5, 6
8,
pair.
4, 3, 2, 1, 2. And 2 must be doubled. That's a doubled 1. So this is 5, 6, 7, 9, not 8 or 9. 5, 6, 7, so this is a 3. 9. 5, 6 pair. 7, 8 pair. 7, 8 pair, 7, 8 pair. That can't be a 7. 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. 9, 8, 4. Not a 9. So 4 and 5 isn't allowed.
We looked at row 3, which is 1, 2, 5, 6. Row 3, up 1.
1, 2, 1. 1 has to be one of those two, so that's a 5. 5 has to be one of those two. 4, 6 pair. 4, 6 pair makes that a 3 and a 1. 4, 6, 7.
Can't be a 6 because of the 1, 6 pair in the box.
Right. 3. 7, 4, 9. 6. Is that a 5? 6. Sixes, 5, not a 5. Not a 6, not a 5. 6, 7 makes that a 5. Not a 5 makes that a 6.
7,
7,
8
pair
pair in
makes
the
a
row.
6, 4, 7, 6, 4, 7, 6, 4, 6. 2, 7, 9.
No,
What did I mess up?
the thermo. The long thermo that starts in that has the 8 at the end, it goes 7, 7. That's gotta be 8.
Oh. Ah, right. I messed something else up. When did I get this 5? Why do I think that's a 5? Because 1 in this row has to be here. So that's a 5, that's a 6. Making that a 5. 6 makes that a 5. Okay.
Well, we can
Well,
place 2 in box 1 by Sudoku. Columns 1, 2, and row 2 have 2s.
where are we placing 2?
A 2 in box 1, because there's a 2 in columns 1 and 2 and and that 7, 8 can't be a 2, so that's a 6.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 5, 9, 7, and 8. 1 is out of all of those, so that's a 1. That's not a 3, that's not a 3, so that is. If this was a 7, then neither of those is.
Well, column 1 has a 7, 8 pair.
6, 7, 8, 7, 4, 8, 5, 7, 6, 7, 6, 8, 7, 6. A 5. 4, 8, 9. 4, 2, 8, 9. 2, 9, 8. 1, 2, 6, 1. Okay, I don't know what I did wrong then. Obviously did something wrong. 7 and 9? No.
5, 5. 1 and
1,
3 and something else. 9.
9, 1. That can't be a 1, so that's 3.
2, 4, and 6.
So that one has to be a 2, 6, 4. Go across the rows, starting from the bottom. 2, 3.
1 and 4. 6 and 7.
There we go. Alright. That one was kind of a hard puzzle.
Well, given that we started out, it's like, oh, wait a minute, this is the wrong assumption, although that's what was still a doubled 5.
Yeah.
I don't know why I stopped at 10. Oh, well, 10 is after 9, therefore it has to be a doubled 5.
I mean, that's basically the same thought process that I went through. wrong one. No, I forgot the link to the Blobs version. Or Blobs puzzle. This one. Oh. Row 7. And then column 4. That was the right button. No! First try. Alright. I think it was a hard puzzle. Because, I mean, even the logic up here with the 4 and 8,
Yeah.
wasn't too difficult. I definitely tripped over that a little bit.
Yeah, I just didn't think that went through
Yeah.
solidly enough.
I tripped over a number of different things. The logic that you spotted here, that this couldn't be a double 3, that was really important because of the 5-6 pair. Limited the possibilities here. The fact that 9 in this row had to be in a certain spot, that it couldn't just be placed here.
Yeah, that screwed us up the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a number of different logic
And I don't know why I
things.
wasn't thinking that, oh, we can't have 3 doubled after after a 9, and no, it's not on the same thermo, it's rows and columns and
Yeah.
boxes. And those are 3 different rows, columns, and boxes.
I forget how we eliminated the idea that this couldn't be 9.
Well, no, because we were thinking none of the bulbs could be 9.
Yeah. But
Therefore,
if
that one had to be, and then that was what broke it the first time. It's
yeah.
like, well, what happened? Why?
I,
Oh,
yeah, I guess I don't remember why a 9 here broke it. I mean, obviously because a 9 had to go up there, but
right. It gave us a double 7 on the thermo.
right. Okay, yeah. No, I feel like the double 7 was later. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Puzzle solved. I'm gonna go with hard as the difficulty. Seems like most people are rating that average. I'm gonna say it's still on the harder side there. Just because I think the logic involved with the doublers and stuff leads to some false conclusions. I don't know. Maybe that's just me trying to justify the fact that I made mistakes, multiple mistakes. But
Yeah, but we both made the same mistakes.
yeah.
Because we dismissed the 9 on the bulb in box 5
Hmm.
because, well, we can't have that much doubled after it.
Yeah.
Because all of those would have to be doubled. Well, yeah, they can be.
Because of that diagonal pattern right there.
Uh-huh.
All right. 34, we can probably tackle one more, as long as this one isn't too difficult. So let's go ahead and try out Elasticity by Sudoku. Normal Sudoku rules apply, digits in a cage do not repeat, and sum to the clue in the top left. Alright. Well, that isn't what I wanted. Paste. Go. So. Okay, well, 15 has to be 1 through 5. 36. Well, we're missing 9, but we can do that in 3 easily enough in multiple ways. 21.
Yeah, just can't include 1,
So,
2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3 have to be in the cages.
that's 25, so the leftovers are 20, which I think is just 1 and 2 on the outside.
Well, row 1 and 2 cannot be, it would have to be in the cage. If it's, they can't be in 12s.
Right.
And they can't be outside of the cages in box 3. But 3 can be in a 12, so that wasn't very helpful after all.
If we look at the similar thing going on here.
Yeah. Five.
One and two isn't in
Right.
the 20 that's left over.
Right.
So if we look at this column, it isn't in the 20 and it isn't in the 13s.
And 3 is not in the 13s, but it can be in the.
$16 can't have 2 digits from 1 and 2.
Right.
It can't even have 2 digits from 1, 2, and 3. Oh, 9 requires that. 2 digits from 1, 2, and 3. But then 16 would have to have 1 from 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
Wait, no, I can put the 3 in the 20. Yeah, because 3 and 8, 9 is 20. Darn. Thought I could maybe rule out that possibility.
Ten has to have 2 from 1, 2, and 3.
1, 4, and 5 is only one option.
Yeah, but it has to have 2 from 1, 2, and 3. Because if you look at row 1 and column 9,
Uh-huh.
well, no, it doesn't have to have 2 of them from there.
Yeah. In fact, it could be neither of those two.
Yeah.
But 14 has an option where it's 2, 3, and 9. Okay. Okay. Well, let's consider the option that it's none of the digits in the 10. Let's just call this one blue. So that one's red. Although I guess that possibility is still questioned. Although the 15 has to have red or blue, so red must be one of those two. And I guess if it's neither of those two, then that would have to be red. So that couldn't be red, so that would be red. So then that would be blue. So then that wouldn't be. Oh, this would end up being forced to be blue, and therefore that one's red, and that one's not. Because I'm saying it's neither of those. Because blue is in 14. Okay, well, that checks out. Because this can be 2, 3, 4 easily enough. $36 can have 1 and 2 in it. 20 and 5 can easily have 1 and 2 in it. Or it could only have 1 or 2. But it has to have 1 or 2. Oh, well, this is 6, 7, 8, 9, because it can't be any of the digits inside of the 15.
Okay, 12 and 13 is 25. So the
Yeah.
leftovers have to sum to 20.
Make that red. And this all blue. So red is 45. And if we subtract out 40, red is 5 more than blue. That doesn't seem helpful yet. But maybe it's more important down here, where we rule these out, because 12 and 13 and 20 is 45.
Right.
So red is equal to blue in sum.
Well, and blue
Mm.
has to be in the 12 and 13 because since they sum to the same thing and neither of them can be the center digit.
Yeah. I feel like it has to do with the ones and twos. And maybe the threes, but the threes are less restricted in the columns and rows of the 12s. But if I had 3, oh, well, no, because
3 can
20,
be there.
yeah. And it is literally in the. Well, okay. If I make this red, then I know red is ruled out of the rest of this, and it's ruled out of here. Blue is then required to be in the 15, so blue is out. If I pick red to be here, it's ruled out of the 10. The 10 has to have 1 or 2 in it. So that would be ruled out of the 14. I don't think that's enough, because I don't know which one of those two it could be. And of course, if that's not red or blue, then say we make this one red. Then we have that situation. I mean, we know
Right.
that these...
Oh.
Go ahead.
In box 7, 7, 8, and 9, only one of those can be in the 16. None of them can be in the 9. But one of them has to be in the 16.
Yeah. You can put 7 and 8 together.
Oh, right.
With a 1.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah. I'm going to make that 2, 3, 4. I'm going to get 5, 6, and 9. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is 2 digits from 1 and 2. Or 1, 2, and 3. This is 2 digits from 1, 2, and 3. No, it's only 1. Darn it.
Yeah, that could have 2 and 3 in the 14.
Yeah. Okay. I still think marking where 1s and 2s go in the ring around the outside. Rows 1, 9, and columns 1, 9 is relevant. If we look at 3, it gets interesting, but not useful yet. Yeah, I don't think adding a third color is what we need. I guess I want to ask, what if it's these two? Well, if it is those two, well then, how about not those? And then say make this one red. Then this one would be ruled out. Because I need both red and blue in there, but I can't put red on the inside, nor red on the outside. So this configuration doesn't work. So this couldn't be 1 or 2 if it's both of these. So if it's not that one, then it has to be one of those two. And if it's not that one, red and blue are in here, and those can't be. And actually, these would have to be. Well, not necessarily. I mean, one of them obviously has to be, but it's not ruled out of this one. Okay, well, if I made this one red and said no to those, then we get red and blue. Red's ruled out. Blue is ruled out. So red is one of those two, and something like that. Which is fine.
The 36 cage?
Yeah.
Can only have one from 1, 2, or 3.
Okay. Can this one be 1 or 2 at all? Not if they're both in here. But if I did that, that would have to be 1 or 2. Well, not necessarily.
My brain's fried.
Yeah. It is 10. We've made no progress. We will continue this next time.
Just start it from the beginning next time.
Yeah. Alright. Well. I don't know why that puzzle was so hard. It just simply was. Let's see. Add. I guess I should look that up on Logic Masters Germany. Just, real quick. We did solve this one. Logic Masters Germany. Is it on here? It is. Put that in the video description. When it's time to do that, we'll start with that next time. Alright. I have nothing else to say. Thank you so much, everyone who watched. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fancy YouTube engagement stuff. And if you're interested in more content from this channel, that is Sudoku on Mondays and Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're interested in more gaming content, I play Monster Hunter. I've been playing Monster Hunter World on Saturdays at 7 a.m. I might stream that this Wednesday, because my friend didn't make it on last Saturday. That one. So I might stream Monster Hunter World again on Wednesday. I haven't settled on a time. And then I also need to play Final Fantasy VI, which again, I just sort of play that randomly. Aside from that, I don't have anything else to say, so that is going to be the end. Again, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.